Like, look at that. Like, what's going on? Okay, we're gonna do a little bit of experimentation today, understanding things. This is a thing we've done in the past where I'll pull up tracks that I've admired and that I think sound good, and I've looked at them in a scope to see kind of what sort of things are going on. What can we glean by looking at their finished tracks in some sort of spectrum analyzer? And one thing I've been learning about a lot is mid versus side, and like how having a clean low end can make your tracks really pop. And I was pulling up tracks I had looked at in the past here, and seeing kind of like what do these tracks sound like, and some tracks were surprisingly different than I expected. Here I have two different spans pulled up. One is set in the mid-side mode, the other is just the normal way I look at span. So like if I look at the Fractal Universe here by Matt Zoe, the purple over here is the mid, the orange is the side. So you can see that this section is there's a lot of stereo width going on. You can see it in the correlation meter down here at the bottom as well. But if we get over to this area, the correlation is nice and clean. And you can see in our low end, basically no side information. All the side is just in the top here. That's what I expected to see in most tracks. But if I look at like big giant circles up here, this was a reference track we used a lot when doing boss fight. Okay, clean low end. So in this track, we're seeing a lot more low end coming all the way down into like the 80s and 100s and stuff like that. So I think that's mostly their kick drum that's doing that. I can't for some reason get this meter in mid-side mode to operate like this one, where it's like instantaneous. For some, with this one, it's so much easier for me to see what sound is making the waves. Over here, it seems to be stuck, even though I've turned the average time all the way down. And these peaks for some reason are all like much lower block size, like a 64 block size or something like that. Anyways, this track had a lot more low end side information than I expected. But okay, that's chiptune. That's not like EDM specifically. What about Going Quantum and Have's Double Tap here? This is a track we like listening to and have looked at it on the past. What's really interesting to me is that as I listen to this piece, if you turn it up, you can see there's side information through the whole thing, but it's got this nice consistent ramp down here of the side information that like allows a lot more side information in kind of this 700 to 4K range, and then it kind of peters down a little bit at the top there. But yeah, basically this like the whole kind of mid to upper section, lots of side information, and then this slow ramp down, like on their master or something like that on the side, they just put this EQ with the kind of like a 6 dB filter drop off going down to 0. And I don't know, it's different than what my tracks look like. My tracks look like Matt Zoe's tracks when you do this, where it just straight up is like around 100, just drops off, and the low end is completely clean and everything else on the top is very, very wide. But I'm very interested in like Skrillex and Noisia type tracks, which is a little bit more kind of the sound I've been trying to mimic completely unsuccessfully. But I wanted to see what does a Skrillex track look like in these meters. I have not looked at these yet, so I'm very curious. You're going to see my live reaction here. We're a React channel now.
Information making me question.
I expected this part to be pretty wide.
To the nation, my existence.
Well, that was fascinating. Did you see that? It has this in this spot. It was going from mono to completely opposite of mono. It was like fully mono and then all the way down to like completely the other side. That is kind of a crazy thing. I am amazed at how much side information is going on in this section. In the low end here, like this is, I don't know what that means, because when you watch the correlation meter, it's still pretty clean. It's still showing up pretty much over here, but somehow there's a lot going on the sides, which I think mainly here just means I don't know exactly what I'm looking at. I think I'm deducing a conclusion out of this graph that is not actually true. What about this bass is information is in the sides? Like, look at that. I don't understand how that's happening, how we're getting there's such a clean correlation with this much side information at this low of a frequency. Anytime I have these sorts of frequencies going on, this thing is going wiki wacky all over the place. So no good conclusions, just collecting data here. Very interested in Lapse by SleepNet. If you haven't heard this song, go listen to this song. This is a great song. Again, I expect the beginning here to be pretty wide. It's not that wide. But this drop. Okay. So this is more similar to what I was expecting to see. It's a similar kind of downward slope. It's a similar downward slope to what we see in like double tap. And I wonder if that means that they're just more gentle about the way that they carve it out there. Maybe this is just like the sort of thing that gets reflected in a spectrum analyzer after you bounce a track. I don't know. Like these rogue frequencies that get reintroduced, but that wouldn't be a thing, right? One thing I think that's fascinating that maybe you guys didn't see because I didn't really have this EQ in center frame when we were listening at the beginning here. Look at this thing. And then this. I don't know what that is. It looks like a filter that's slowly moving down. You can kind of watch it going down. It's just slowly creeping down. But what's getting through? It looks like it's like a very harsh filter on the master that you can kind of hear the resonance on. The psh. But there's a few moments where there's some like really big gaps in there. Like, look at that. Like, what's going on? Well, this is crazy. It's really fun to look at the way that professionals do music and these things and then like try to compare it to our own and like see if I can learn anything. I don't know. This is fascinating to me. And this is a track of music that is, I think, pretty sonically stereo production wise. Avant-garde is new, it's different. It's not trying to like fit into like a pop formula. So it makes sense that you'd have things like this, but like, what is that? What is this complete notch of missing information that's like there? It's not just like a super random hole. You look at it and it's pretty regularly. I don't know what that is, but cool. While editing this video, I like picked up on what I just said and like realized like, no, I just said what it is. It is a notch filter, I'm pretty sure. It's while you've got the back half of the sound is all completely open and then it drops off pretty heavily and it goes to like kind of an infinite gain reduction and then pops back up. And this side doesn't come up as high as the back part. So you just kind of have this like notch thing moving through the master that's creating that effect. I'm curious to try that and see what sort of sounds you get from it. But yeah, it was kind of funny like editing this video and be like, oh wait, I can see what it is. I just said like there's like this notch missing. Yeah, it's like a notch filter, bud. That's probably what it is. But crazy idea. Okay, just for my own curiosity, I pulled in the little demo we made the other day.
Heartbeat electric, starboard eclectic, open wide, let your mind feel the pulmonary lo-fi stereo.
The fact that like very few tracks have this like harsh cutoff like that makes me wonder if I'm missing something when it comes to that. And I probably am, because I'm missing a lot of things when it comes to sound design. The only other thing we like kind of worked on today, I experimented around with this sound that I made yesterday. I love this sound. It's kind of messy, but I had this idea of what if I put kind of one very diatonic counterpoint line in one ear and one very diatonic counterpoint line in the other ear, and then I had kind of like the chord tones in the center. So I made this kind of 3-channel mix here, where on one ear you've got this. And then in the other ear you have this. When you combine the two, you get this. Which all makes much more sense once you put in this pedal tone and some chord tones. I think that's a cool sound. That's a very wave punk sound. It's much more like lean into like the interestingness of melodies and harmonies and rhythms and not as much sound design, which is what I'm trying to stop myself from doing. Not because I want to like ever neglect those things. Those are very important things to me and they will always be important to my music, but I want to learn the other sides of things. I don't want to lean on my ability to come up with catchy melodies and ostinatos and neglect my necessity to learn how to make good sounds. So especially when you start stacking a very busy sound like that 3 times, it gets really, really chaotic. And I don't know, it was a fun experiment, but I don't think that sound in that iteration will make it into the final piece. Yep, that's all we did like when it came to like composition though today, and like actually producing and not just learning. But yep, that's all we have time for today. Thanks so much for watching. See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.